I have been very excited to play with you guys this Exit the Game Nightfall Manor, which is one of these escape games that we've become so fond of, but it incorporates puzzles. You know how much I love puzzles. The story of this game, according to the back of the box here, the old man was well known for his eerie tales of the dark castle on the edge of the forest. Recently, he set out on his own to find the shadowy lord of the manor, but he hasn't returned. Fearing the worst, you embark on a quest to find him. You must solve a series of riddles and piece together 4 jigsaw puzzles to uncover the mystery of Nightfall Manor and save your missing friend. We need to pay close attention to what's going on the box. It'll often be incorporated in the gameplay. So, I'm guessing we have something to do with vampires here. But let's go ahead and take a look at the instruction book. Now, I haven't really looked through the box, but I did pull out the instruction book to share with you. And I am just going to open up each page in case you want to pause and read the instructions. This is not like the games that we have played in the past, so we might have to refer back to this a bit as we go through. I didn't go through the entire instruction booklet because in the past we had help cards. This one appears to have some sort of, you just refer to the booklet to find your clues instead of using cards for those. Let's go ahead and read the description or what the game is about. Gaston was an odd bird. Whenever you ran into him, he would regale you with horror stories. The children of the village hung on his every word. Gaston was particularly obsessed with a spooky castle called Nightfall Manor. Gruesome stories about the castle's owner had been circulating through the village for decades, but Gaston was the only one who took them seriously. Yesterday, he loudly proclaimed that he wanted to get to the bottom of the mysterious tales. Nobody has seen him since. This is a matter of some concern. You are quite fond of Gaston. He is something of a hero from your youth. What if he's gotten into some kind of trouble? You don't need to think about it for long. You grab your backpack and set out to search for him. Your path leads you into the dark woods where towering fir trees swallow up every bit of light. The treetops sway in the breeze, intermittently revealing a glimpse of Nightfall Manor. You pause for a moment. Did one of the towers look like a screaming face just now? Didn't Gaston say something about the way this place can play tricks on you? You push the thought aside and remember why you're here, to find Gaston. After what seems like an eternity, you come to a clearing in the woods. You find several crates, 4 strange discs, and a book scattered across the ground. What could this mean? Inside the box, we have some puzzle pieces. Again, some of them have patterns on the back. That's how we're going to know which one to start with, which will be the one with no pattern on it. So that's that one. Let's set that aside. All right, we have in here, I think this is to help us put together the decoder disc. We have the individual riddle booklets. And then a number of pieces we need to punch out. So we have the decoder disc. Whoops, there's actually quite a few here. So we have our decoder disc. There's a side on the back that you can see the X there. That's going to tell us if we've coded it correctly based on the lock that we're looking at, which is very similar to how we played the previous games. And don't worry if you haven't before. It's pretty easy to follow along. Inside the box, there's not really anything in here. Sometimes there's some clues inside the box. So in the meantime, we are just going to stick in the extra puzzle pieces and then punch out the rest of these strange items. The instructions say to take the riddle document labeled start along with the puzzle bag containing the pieces, then start the timer and assemble the first puzzle. And then I'm not sure if we're supposed to read this before or after, but let's go ahead and put the puzzle together first and see what happens. I'm just going to note our start time here is 8:16 p.m. And let's see, because we are going to be working against the clock in order to score for the game. we have finished the first puzzle. Looks like we have Nightfall Manor with the moon behind it. We've got some glowing leaves. This must be some sort of odd tree. Not really sure what that is. We've got an owl. 3 chests, each with a different lock on it. There are some symbols, like this one has a red something. This one's got a green. There's a little blue there, purple. I'm not sure if those are relevant. This looks like nose. So it's keep following your nose to Nightfall Manor. Nose. I don't know what it's. There's an arrow pointing this way. And that looks like some sort of like puzzle piece. So I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. Let's go ahead and check out the first start riddle here. An owl's cry startles you from your thoughts. What an ominous sign. Nervously, you pull the shoulder straps of your backpack tighter. In your hurry, you grabbed it without actually packing anything inside. Still, you are glad to have it with you. Who knows what you might need it for? You may now take the backpack from the edge of the table. Use it when you are told. All right, we have our backpack here. Inside, it looks like there's some space to put some items, but for the moment, we'll just set it off on the side. As your gaze sweeps across the clearing, you notice that all the crates are secured with different colored locks. Do you think there might be more clues about Gaston's disappearance hidden inside them? The owl you heard is sitting on one of the old wooden crates. He is looking at you expectantly. The box on which he is sitting is secured by a green lock. You see an old camera lying on the ground and feel an urge to snap a photo of him. The camera belongs to Gaston. Do you think it still works? Take the strange camera and use it to bring the owl into focus. What else do you see? So we're going to take our card and we're going to place it on the owl here. The card itself has B, C, A in these boxes. So if we line up the owl, all right, I think we have to decipher what these puzzle piece shapes look like in terms of numbers. This one's clearly a 2. This is a 7. This one, I'm not entirely positive, but it looks like it could be a 5. I'm guessing we go A, B, C would be 2, 5, 7 on the green lock. Let's go ahead and take our decoder disc, find the green lock, and it is 2, 5, 7. Flip it over, and you can see a green lock. That means yes, that's the correct code. We have some symbols that have appeared, which is triangle, circle, square. Now we're supposed to look for another riddle card that has that combination. So triangle, circle, square is this one. Oh, there's some other writings on the back of it. Let's go and open it up. Fantastic. The crate opens. Curious, you look inside, but all you find is this photo with dotted lines on it, along with a few provisions. Well, these can't do any harm, you think. Was Gaston going to eat these for a snack? What if he's still nearby? You think it would be a good idea to pack only a portion of the provisions, but which are you going to take? Take your backpack and consider carefully which of the 2 items you want to take with you, the garlic or the tomato. Then stow it away in your backpack. You will find out later if you need it. Turn over our backpack. I'm guessing this has something to do with vampires, so I'm going to take the garlic, because we know vampires don't like garlic. Just as you're closing up your backpack, you notice something glimmering under the lid of one of the nearby crates. Isn't that the crate in the photo you just found? It is secured with a bronze-colored lock. As you approach, you see the light grow stronger and start to bend at odd angles. That must mean something. Only now do you notice several colored markings all around you. All right, so the image here, we are supposed to cut out, I guess. There's that green line there, the green line here. So this crate is this crate. I'm going to cut this off here, just like it says. I'm assuming I'm supposed to cut these dotted lines here. All right, so we have rays of light. Don't really know what I'm supposed to do with that. If we look on the back, when we cut them off, each has a little color indication. So let's see here. So we have red. If we line up the red like so, blue like so, orange, green. I'm going to use just a little piece of tape to secure these in place. So they tend to want to shift all around. Some of them overlap. I'm going to think, what if we're supposed to put them in rainbow order, I guess? Starting with red. Let's go ahead and check out clues for opening the wooden crate on number 3. Clues for opening the wood crate. First clue. From the riddle document 1, use scissors to cut out the crate with the rays of light along the dotted lines. Have you noticed that this crate matches one of the crates shown in the puzzle? Position the cutout crate with the rays of light on the puzzles in such a way that one crate is on top of the other. Then follow the clue about bending light. Apparently something has to be folded here, but what? So 1 to red, 2 to blue, 3 to yellow, 4 to orange, 5 to purple, and 6 to green. 2, and I guess 9, since they're kind of upright. 2, 9, 2. 2, 9, 2. Got the bronze, so we're correct. That means the code was Moon Star Y. Moon Star Y. All right. Excellent. You opened the bronze-colored lock. You carefully open the crate and immediately notice there are 3 different colored fireflies under the lid. Ah, so that's where the light is coming from. Yes, there are an awful lot of fireflies around here. As you look deeper into the old wooden crate, you find a sharp wood peg and a hammer. What a nut that old Gaston is, you think. What did he want to do with this stuff? Was he going to repair the rickety signpost? You consider whether some of it might be able to help you in your search for the old man. The only thing is, there's not very much room in your backpack. You will need to decide which one of the 2 items to take. Think about it. Which will be more useful, the hammer or the wooden peg? Then tuck it away in your backpack. So we have a wooden peg, which could be like a wooden stake, or the hammer. Because I think we're dealing with vampires, I'm going to take the wooden stake. What to do next, you wonder? Once again, your gaze returns to the lid with the fireflies. There is an image of a signpost above them too. It seems Gaston is trying to lure you to Nightfall Manor. All you have to do is open this last crate with the blue lock. You notice there's an odd drawing of a nose on it. So here we have the blue lock. There is indeed a nose drawn on it, and some other symbol here. The sign says, "Follow your nose to Nightfall Manor." Here's the nose. We have fireflies drawn on here. We have yellow, green, blue. Keep following your nose to Nightfall Manor. I think, are we looking for puzzle pieces that have this shape? We have one here. We also have one here. Clues here, though, show a specific style of piece as well. Are there any that have that? Which is a bump at the top and on the left. I don't see any that have that particular configuration. Let's see if there's a green one. Got a green one here. Can we pull that piece out? And then we need a blue one as well. This one has a yellow in it, I just noticed. Gonna need a clue. Clues for opening the wooden crate is number 5. All right. Have you noticed the nose on the crate with a blue lock? Next to it, you will see an arrow pointing to a puzzle piece. Aha, the bulges of the puzzle piece also look like the noses. But what does that have to do with the riddle? Under the lid of the open crate with the bronze-colored lock, you will find an illustration of a signpost and 3 puzzle pieces with fireflies. You will find the signpost near the left edge of the puzzle. On it, you will read, "Keep following your nose to Nightfall Manor." These clues must be related somehow. Clue number 2. The signpost and the odd drawing on the crate with the blue lock indicate that you should follow the noses on the puzzle pieces. The first puzzle nose can be found on the puzzle piece with the signpost. It points you to the next piece. Follow the puzzle noses until you reach the castle. And as you are following the path, don't forget the fireflies. The riddle seems to have something to do with those little bugs, and you do in fact find fireflies glowing in 3 different colors. So if we follow our noses, we're going up. We pass 1 yellow. Let's just sort of make a note here. All right, so we got yellow, green, blue. So here, going up, we have 1 yellow. Up, over, up, there's another yellow. Green. Yellow. 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 Blue. Green. Castle. All right, so we have a few here. Let's see, yellow, green, blue. So we have 6, 2, 1. Let's try that. The blue lock, 6, 2, 1. And we have the blue lock. So we have got the code for the next puzzle. That would be Moon, Moon, L. Moon, Moon, L. You excitedly pat one another on the shoulders. You have opened the crate, but as you look inside, you don't know whether to laugh or cry. In the crate, you find a hand puppet and an old crank. You have one of these cranks at home for opening and closing the shutters on the house. The puppet, at least, looks like fun. Still, what would you do with these? Strange things are happening here. You decide to take one of the items with you. You never know what you'll need. Choose one of the items and tuck it into your backpack. Well, I suspect we're going to need a crank to open a window, some shutters to let some light in for some vampires, so we're going to take the crank. You stuff the selected item in your last corner of your backpack and continue on your way through the woods. It has grown cold, and the cry of the owl is following you. After several minutes, you emerge from the woods and find yourself standing at a fence, which seems to lead all the way around the castle grounds, forming the property boundary. Nightfall Manor rises up imposingly in front of you. Now take the puzzle bag holding the puzzle pieces with the stars on the back and assemble the picture on the location. Then continue reading. Here we have our second puzzle completed with a fuller view of the castle. There's some sort of lock on the main entrance doors. Looks like we have some topiaries of interesting, scary creatures. Here on the gate, it says caution, extreme danger. There's some sort of card hanging from one lock here. This, I'm not really sure. It looks like a bucket handle, but it matches this on the end here. Not really sure what that's all about, and can't tell what this is either. It looks like it is the dial mechanism, the decoder. We have extra pieces with this puzzle. Not sure why we have extra pieces, if that's actually part of the puzzle or if that's just a manufacturing defect. Let's go ahead and read what the last bit of this clue booklet said. You stand before the fence at a loss for what to do next. The gate is secured with a red padlock. It probably wouldn't be a very good idea to climb over the fence as it seems quite wobbly. What's more, a sign on the gate shows a fallen tree. Another sign warns you about falling trees. This really seems to be a dangerous place. Don't know what this is about, but it's clearly the bottom of that. So this has some green lines on it. There's some red lines on the tree. I mean, maybe we're supposed to take this entire bit off as if the tree had fallen. Okay, so we line up the paint bucket. We have A, X, E, X. I'm not counting that because we already got that far. It is no coincidence that the red markings point directly to 3 letters on the fence. The letters form the word X. The colors of the markings should look familiar to you. Things seem to have gotten splattered around a little here. On the decoder disc, of course. But you will find no letters there, only numbers and blobs of paint. Do you think you might be able to create the 3 marked letters out of numbers? Judging by the decoder disc on the tree, there seems to be something particularly important there. And I think we have to line up the decoder things under the... We have to line up the decoder reveals under the red lock and look for letters or numbers. The 3 red lines in the trunk mark AXC in the fence. Of course, to fill the tree, you need an axe. The decoder disc on the trunk tells you that you can find the axe, in other words, AXE, on the wheel of the decoder disc if you look closely, and you can see that some of the numbers on the wheels are turned into letters with the red paint. Okay, that's pretty sneaky. So, A, X, E, X. That's pretty darn clever. There's our red. The next puzzle will be Moon, Star, Cross. Perfect, but that was hard work. Who would have thought that you would need to cut down this old tree in order to open the red padlock? Gaston didn't even give you a saw. What was he thinking? Or maybe this wasn't one of Gaston's clues after all. Maybe the castle's owner did all he could to make his property inaccessible to visitors. Questions about questions that can no longer be answered, you think as you enter the property. You don't want to lose any more time because the closer you get to the castle, the spookier the whole thing becomes. You saw the single cloud long before you departed on your adventure. Now it partly obscures the moon and the stars to cover the towers of Nightfall Manor 3 times with thick fog. You have to look around carefully to see all the towers. Hearing thunder, you take flight and race toward Nightfall Manor. At least it will be dry there, should it start to rain. But the entrance gate is barred with a large white lock denying you access. In front of the gate, there are 3 small white columns. Aha, that's a clue, you think. The columns seem to indicate the order of number values in which the code had to be entered. But what is the code? You look back up at the dark cloud. You do have some underlined letters here. Before you departed, cover the towers of Nightfall Manor 3 times. Look around carefully. So we have medium, and if there's only 3 in front of the moon, small, medium, and large. So we start with medium, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to look for. Riddle Document 4 describes a dark cloud moving over the towers of Nightfall Manor. It just so happens that you have this cloud right in front of you. Take a closer look at the sky around the moon in the puzzle. You will see 2 thin orientation lines that have exactly the same shape as the strange cloud item. Position the cloud against the lines to wrap the towers of Nightfall Manor in thick fog. Do you notice anything? Let's read the second clue. Once you have positioned the cloud over the towers of Nightfall Manor, the negative space between the towers will form a number. But why does the text say the cloud covers the towers of Nightfall Manor 3 times? In this image, there is only one position of the cloud indicated with the orientation lines. Do you think you might be able to place the cloud in another location as well? After all, you have been traveling for quite a while. Think about the fact that you had already seen the towers long before your adventure. I guess that's a 5. If I put that there. But that would have been there whether I put this here or not. These lines are ridiculous. I don't think any normal person would think that was supposed to be part of the puzzle. But if we put that there, we clearly have a 5. We've seen this 3 times, so where else have we seen the castle? Well, we had the other puzzle. Good thing we didn't take it apart. Right, well, negative space here. I guess that's a 7. And then did we see it here on the box? It's like that. 2. This would be 5. Farthest away was the box, so that would be 2. 7. 7, 2, 5. 7, 2, 5. That's a yellow one, so that's not right. Let's just read the solution to see what we got wrong. We got the 2 and the 7 and the 5. So we must have put them in the wrong order. The code is 527. The columns next to the white lock tell you how to arrange the numbers. First is a number with the middle value, then the one with the lowest, then the one with the highest. Okay, so those represented the numbers, the order of the numbers, not the order of the castle. Oh, I don't like this. There could have been like so many ways to interpret these things. All right, 5, 2, 7. It's the white lock. That gives us square, star, hexagon. Click, the white padlock springs open. You have done it. You enter the castle brimming with curiosity. What a creepy atmosphere. Old Gaston wasn't exaggerating when he talked about the terrifying building. You look around the entrance hall in amazement. Each of your footsteps echoes on the cold stone floor. Eerie stained glass windows loom over you, and dusty old books are arranged on a sideboard. Your attention shifts to a yellow padlock on one of the doors of the sideboard. If all these locks really were hung by Gaston, there could be another clue in here that might reveal secrets about Nightfall Manor and its owner. But where is Gaston? You haven't yet found any actual sign of him. Here we have the inside of Nightfall Manor. Now I have to admit, after putting this puzzle together, I decided to stop for the night, and that night ended up being 6 months. And I've had a lot of life changes since then. I don't know if you can tell what might have happened, but it's been a fun, adventuresome 6 months, but I am ready to get back into the mystery here and figure out what's going on with Gaston. So here in the entrance hall, we can see we have stained glass windows here, or maybe they're pictures, I'm not sure, but we have different patterns. They do appear to correspond a little bit with these patterns on the books. There are a couple of padlocks here, one on the door, one on this chest. Some rats in the corner. There's a key here on the stairs, a key here on the painting, and a suit of armor. I'm not sure if that's relevant. Some gargoyles. Now that we've assembled the puzzle, though, we can read the next page, which says, you take a closer look at the books on the sideboard. Just as you're about to pull the book entitled All About Bats, which is underlined, from the row, a note falls out. What you read is very disturbing. Many books here, large and small, but which ones matter most of all? 1. Use this book to find the height, match the colors to the right. It leads you to the 3 other works. Symbols are what you'll see at first. If not, it turns out that you're not so clever, and the Lord of the Castle will hold you forever. 2. See the windows on the wall. Only some matter in this hall. 3. Hurry, for while he might be away, he's coming back this very day. Then you'll be one of his kind in eternal fame, held forever in shadows around the panes. 1. Use this book to find the height. Match the colors to the right. So we've got orange, green, red. And I guess we're looking for one that is this height. And if we kind of do that, well, we have orange, green, and red. And it's that height, I guess. So it's clearly that one. It leads you to 3 other works. Symbols are what you'll see at first. We have a symbol of, I think, a bat. Now, these are really kind of small and hard to see. If I'm interpreting this correctly, we are going to look to the right of the book to look for the 3 symbols matching the color codes on this book. Starting with yellow, which I believe is a chalice, which is here. Then we have this sort of blue-green color, which looks like the onion. And then we have this red, which I think it's kind of hard to tell which red. I'm guessing it's this one that's a candelabra because that's the most distinctive. So we have chalice, onion, candelabra. But how we translate those to numbers, I'm not really sure. It has something to do maybe with the shadows. But I'm not sure where we see any shadows. First clue, the poem in Riddle Document 5 tells you that 3 of the books on the sideboard have some significance, but which 3? They are revealed by the book shown in the Riddle document. Did you notice that the book also shows up in the row of books on the sideboard? The colored strips on the spine of the book are worth noticing. Their heights and colors lead you directly to 3 significant works. So the height, actually, I guess, is what we're looking for. So this yellow book is, in fact, the chalice. This blue one is the onion. This red one is this, which I can't really tell. I think it's the blood. So it's chalice, onion, blood. But how that translates to numbers, I'm not so sure, which means we're going to need another clue. Take a look at the symbols on the 3 books. You see a garlic bulb, a goblet, and a drop of blood. Now look for the windows in which these items appear. There are 2 of each. But there's something odd here. The frames around the windows seem to be casting different shadows. Take a closer look, and when you have spotted the numbers you are looking for, the book All About Bats will tell you their proper order. All right, so we have the chalice there. Where else is a chalice? Oh, it must be here. So we have 2, and we've got the 2 garlics. And the 2 drops of blood. Okay, I got it. All right, so we're looking at the shadows. I was looking at them individually, but you have to look at it as a group. So if you look at just that dark outline there, I believe that's a 9. Guess that's a 7. And the garlics are a 3. So if we are going in the order we first saw them, it was chalice, garlic, blood, which would mean 7, 3, 9. 7, 3, 9. Yay, we got it correct. All right, so that leads us to the next clue, which is moon, moon, plus sign. The yellow lock opens. The note gave you the right clue, but it also contained that creepy threat. Then you'll be one of his kind. You feel confused. The note wasn't from Gaston at all, was it? Was it wrong to dismiss his stories all these years? Maybe people should have listened to him instead of just laughing at him. You'd really prefer to quit and run back to the village. This is all getting a little too weird. But you can't just leave Gaston in the lurch. What if he needs your help? Inside the sideboard, you find an odd little machine with 2 openings and 2 keys depicted above them. Do you think the keys might activate the machine? Take this strange item and keep reading. Here's our strange item. Got this machine, 2 keys here, a couple of holes. This has a 290 degree. This looks like an eyeball. This one also says 90 degrees. So I think we'll come back to that here in a moment, but let's keep reading. Farther behind, against one of the walls of the sideboard, you find a set of instructions written in a spidery script. What on earth can this mean? Machine for opening the portal. 1. Activate the machine. Find 2 keys that fit. Insert them correctly with the printed sides of the puzzle piece facing left into the keyholes and turn the keys 90 degrees toward the eye. Okay, well, I know we've got the 2 puzzle pieces here, and I suspect we have to pull these out. All right, we have silver key goes here, the brass key goes in that slot. So this one appears to be the brass key. We're going to put it in the slot here and then turn it 90 degrees. Okay, same with this one. Turn it 90 degrees. Sharpen your gaze. Find the red oval in the animal on the back. Align the machine to the golden bars, perpendicular to the animal, and bring the oval into focus through the hole until only the red color is visible. All right, I have played enough of these games to realize that the back refers to the back of the box. I remember seeing this bat when we were looking at the box. We need to align the device so that it is perpendicular with the bat, and we want to be able to see that red dot only through the holes here. Step 3 here says fill in the blanks. Identify which letters of the master's names you can see through the 3 notches and use the number code from left to right. The code opens the purple lock. Be careful or your lives may soon be over. And I can see from left to right, we've got a V in that notch of the puzzle, a VI on the top. And if I can keep my finger out of the way, it looks like an I on the right. So V, VI, and I. A V in Roman numerals is 5, VI is 6, and I is 1. Is it 5, 6, 1 for purple? It is. So we have succeeded in that. Now we're going to look for the hexagon, hexagon, hexagon. You hear the purple lock click open. Holding your breath, you listen for something in the silence. As you do, the words you just read repeat themselves in your head. Your lives will soon be over. What could that mean? Horrible things seem to be happening here. Since you don't hear another sound, you open the door a crack and look inside. A narrow stairway leads down below. When you get to the bottom, you gasp. For a moment, you even think your heart may have stopped. What is this? A crypt? Along the right wall, you see a coffin with horrifying scenes pictured on it.
As you look around, you knock over a jug of red liquid, and it gradually dawns on you what you have stumbled across here. Here we have our crypt. Looks like we've got a spider web with a bunch of numbers inside. We've got a couple of framed claws here, and they have some letters in them. There's the bat from the back of the box overlooking the coffin, the spilled blood, candles and bats everywhere. There's another chest with a lock here. Behind the jug, you see a photo of the coffin with odd dots and numbers on it. Might they be used to open the coffin? There must be a connection there, you think. Most likely there is some order to it. Here is some scissors, so we're supposed to cut out this coffin. So I imagine we need to place the coffin on top here. So here on the coffin, we have A, B, and C, and then a number of dots. There are some random repeating numbers. So we've got a 2 and 2 3s, a 6 and 2 7s, a 1, a 5, a 9, 10, and 2 11s. We have red dots on the bats. This one has 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2. Maybe we're supposed to connect the dots. 1, 2, goes to both 3s. Oh, and that points to an arrow there. Okay, so we're pointing to arrows. All right. B, we have 6 going to 7 and a 5. And then here we've got 9 to 10 and 2 11s. All right, so A is pointing to 3. This bat has 3 dots. B is pointing to this bat, which has no dots. C is pointing... Oh, now the question is it pointing to the 1? Because it has been knocked over. If it were knocked over, it'd be pointing to that one. So let's first try the 1. 1. Well, that's a yellow lock, so I don't think that's right. If it were pointing to this one, it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. That opens the pink lock, which gives us triangle, star, hexagon. Unbelievable. The bats really were the key. You have opened the pink lock on the coffin. Carefully, you push the heavy lid aside. As you look inside, you let out a scream. There, balled up and breathing heavily, lies old Gaston. He responds to your cry with a shriek of his own, but he recognizes you. A look of relief spreads across his face. It's you, thank goodness, you found me. How did you get in there, Gaston, you ask him. What's all this about? We're not in the mood for bad jokes. Bad jokes, he replies. I'm not playing any jokes. I already told you that things aren't right around here. For years I have tried to find out what's going on with Nightfall Manor and its owner. I had to solve countless riddles to get this far. Today is the first day that I was able to open this coffin, but then all of a sudden I was grabbed from behind and shoved in. The lid slammed closed over me. I don't know who or what that was, but I suspect something horrible. Horrible. Gaston briefly loses himself in thought, then continues. The first thing we have to do is open the chest with the black lock. Look, here's a photo that I took the last time I was here. There were numbers in the spider web. Somebody doesn't want his secret to be tracked down. I'm guessing, so there's a bunch of numbers here. These are letters. although some of them look like they could be numbers. Let's follow these in order, starting with number 1. That's an L. 2 is O. 3 O. Okay, look. There's nothing here. I guess that's a space. B, E, H, I, N, D. Look behind. Space. T, H, E, space. Look behind the T, A. Not sure what that letter is. I can't make it out. We'll come back to that. Look behind the T, A, something, S, T. All right, what was that last word? So going backwards again, starting with 22. That's a T. 21 is an S. 20 is an E. 19 P. 18 was A. 17 was T. All right, so we're looking behind the tapestry. I missed some letters. So we had R. It's 23. And where is 24? Y. Look behind the tapestry. So here's the tapestry. How do we look behind the tapestry? Do we need to pull the puzzle pieces out for the tapestry? Ugh. It would be nice if we could flip this over without it all falling apart. On the back of the tapestry, we do have an A, a B, and a C. How does that correspond to anything? You do find a tapestry in the room. Take a look behind it. To do that, remove the puzzle pieces containing the tapestry, being sure to keep them connected. Do you see something interesting there? If so, you can definitely use a pen. Straight lines are the way to go here. Then you will find what you're looking for. Got this weird line drawn here. I'm not sure how that's relevant. But if we just connect A to B, B to C, I mean, that doesn't make sense. We've got the gaps. Some of these other ones have gaps as well. Let's just try and connect the gaps. Okay. I think what we need to do is count the dots inside these circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2. 2. That is not correct. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. 4, 4, maybe 6, 4, 4. That's not correct. There's something I'm not seeing. So let's look at the solution here. All right, so according to the solution, we should be looking for the hexagon diamond diamond pattern, which I feel is slightly unfair. And we've been looking for number codes this whole time, but it is what it is. So we don't need to enter anything into the decoder desk. Here we go. Great, you open the black lock. But as you lift the lid, you see something shiny behind the chest. You quickly push the chest aside, a secret door with an orange lock. Do you think it might lead you to the secret of Nightfall Manor? So we have here, right, something that's hidden behind these clasped hands, which clearly correspond to the image here in the puzzle. But what could it be? Right. We've got an indication here of a pencil and a zigzag line. So if we have the hands as if they're clasping, like so. The pen on the drawing under the lid of the chest indicates that you should try writing the letters on your fingers, just as you see them in the paintings, hanging in the puzzle. Be sure not to mix up your left and right hands. Now fold your hands as shown in the illustration, right thumb on top. Can you decode the hidden message? The jagged arrow on the lid of the chest indicates the direction in which to read. Read the clue finger by finger and then search for what your fingers tell you to look for letter by letter. I'm not going to write on my hands, so we're just going to look for the answer here. Now, if you fold your hands as shown in the drawing, you will get the encoded message. Find the O's in Kosmos. In Kosmos, what is that supposed to mean? Maybe it means the Kosmos logo that occurs several times on the game box and in the rulebook. Take a closer look at the Kosmos logo wherever it occurs, especially the O's in the logo. On the short side of the box lid, on the right side, you will find the number O hidden in one of the O's. On the long side pieces on the box bottom, you will find the numbers 3 and 4. I feel this is a completely unfair puzzle. So you have to not only look at the box bottom, so we're looking for all of these Kosmos logos. And inside the O, I think that one says 4. And if we just keep looking at the rest of them, you can kind of see a number. Now you have to have really good eyesight, and my eyes are too old, and the lighting in here is too dim. Even knowing where to look, I can barely make out a number inside of those. So we're just going to have to trust that they're there, and this just reveals the code is 043. There is no chance I would have ever seen this 4 here. This is not a good clue. If they had made it a red, something easy to see, but this is unfair to those of us with aging eyes. I can't see that at all. Then next to the lock on the door, we see the order we should be putting the numbers in. So in the correct size order, I guess it would be 043. I tried that a number of times before even realizing I wasn't using the right colors. So these colors, I mean, they should have used a symbol and a color because I was clearly using the wrong one. 043, and I'm going to say as well, I'm not going to say we used any clues on this one because this puzzle is unfair in my opinion. I don't like it at all, but we have opened the lock and that gives us Hexagon Diamond L. The lock springs open quietly. Slowly and quietly, you open the little door. You crawl through and find out that you can stand up in the passage. You sneak along the other end and peer cautiously around the corner. What you see brings forth a blood-curdling scream. Nightfall Manor's owner is running straight at you, and he doesn't look very friendly. He looks hungry, like he wants to sink his teeth into your neck. Fleeing is not an option, and it's difficult to fend off a vampire with your bare hands. But just then you remember the items in your backpack. Stop the timer and place the things you brought with you in the spaces to the left, matching each one to the box of its same size. Align each item square such that the arrow is pointing directly to a number, then calculate a point total for these items by adding up the numbers to which the arrows are pointing, using the point values you just found at the end of the riddle documents to find out how your adventure ends. The garlic, which points to a 1. The stake in his heart. So the garlic stops and the stake in the heart points to 2. And then this crank to open the window. Points to 4. So I'm doing this on a bit of a slant. So we have 1, 2, 4. We add up those numbers, that becomes 7. Now we can read the end. So there are 3 different endings. We had 7 points. The bloodthirsty vampire races toward you. You frantically feel around for something useful in your backpack. Just as your vicious host is about to grab one of you, you find the wooden peg. Thank goodness we have this wooden stake, you think. We have to plunge it right into the middle of his heart. That's what you've read in old horror stories anyway. But as you move to stab him, the vampire jerks away, and all you strike is his powerful upper arm. You hear an ear-splitting shriek. With his face contorted in pain, the vampire lets go of you for a moment. You frantically dig into your backpack again. You grab the garlic bulb and hold it directly under the monster's nose. He runs off screaming and flees into a corner of the room. The fury in his blood-red eyes frightens you. Just then you remember that you have been carrying this ridiculous crank around with you the whole time. In the blink of an eye, you race to the closed window and use the crank to open the shutters. The light of the rising sun comes pouring into the cellar crypt. The vampire curls up, screeching on the floor, and turns to dust before your eyes. You have done it. You have defeated the vampire. You look around in relief to find Gaston cowering in the corner of the room. You grab him under the arms and help him to his feet. Never again will we doubt your horror stories, Gaston, and that's a promise. Never again? Really? That's great, because I saw an old cabin in the woods. At first glance, it appeared to be abandoned, but I had the feeling that things aren't quite right there either. For your heroic act, and for saving Gaston, you get 2 additional stars in the assessment. You can now proudly call yourselves vampire hunters. Before we tabulate our score, there were a couple of alternate endings. If you want, you can read them here. It looks like no matter which of these endings you arrive at, you have the crank and you still defeat the vampire. But there were a couple other endings you could have gotten. And this one, it looks like the vampire escapes, but at least you saved Gaston. So back to the rule book, we can check our assessments. On day 1 of this game, I spent about an hour and 20 minutes. On day 2, I spent about an hour and 40 minutes. So that brings us right to 180 minutes. And we used between 6 and 10 clues, so that's 3 stars, but we get our 2 extra bonus stars for winning the game, so that's 5 stars. So the most that you could get were the 10 stars plus 2 bonus of 12, so we were 5 out of 12. That's not awful. And that brings us to the end of Nightfall Manor. I did like the fact that it had the puzzle pieces. I think that made it very enjoyable. I liked that you had the different endings that could occur based on the items that you selected, although it was kind of obvious what you needed to select because nobody was going to pick the little clown doll or whatever. Oh, there's the hammer. No one would have picked the tomato. I mean, none of those make any sense. It was kind of clear and obvious that we were dealing with a vampire. So the story could have been a little bit better. The dialogue that they wrote was a little hideously awful, but overall it was fun. Like I said, that last puzzle was terrible. But most of the puzzles, I mean, I got a few without using clues, so that made me happy. But it was a pretty big challenge, in my opinion. And that kind of scares me because, again, it's a level 2 out of 5, so it's closer to novice than expert. So I'd really hate to see what the hard ones are. But we will play more coming up soon. So if you're interested in more escape games, these exit games, and I've got a bunch of other ones I want to play with you, stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. Before we go, I did want to say a special thank you to all the patrons who help support the channel. If you're interested in joining our Fright Club, be sure to check out a link to my Patreon page in the description below. And that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, take care and happy haunting.